I Play Red. Today we've got a Kickstarter preview for you. We are looking at Rulebenders, designed by Tom Vanderweer and produced by Game Brewer. We love this retro look. We love the fourth wall this is breaking as you enter into your favourite games and bend the rules. Let's have a look at how it plays. In Rulebenders, you're going to be managing resources and trying to produce credits, which is ultimately what will win you the game. In the game, there are three types of resources. There are cubes, credits, and cards. So let's start by having a look at the cards. On this prototype version, we have 4 different theme decks. For the Kickstarter edition, there's actually 6 different decks and you choose which 4 to play. We're currently playing with dinosaurs, pirates, fantasy, and Arabian Nights. Of these 4 decks we've got, the pirates are pretty aggressive, and I think the Arabian Nights are most passive, and then the dinosaurs and fantasy are somewhere in the middle. The zombies again are a hyper combative deck, and the sci-fi I think is another low level deck. So you can kind of choose your playing style based on that. Then in the middle we have the flex cards. The outer ring kind of represents the rules of the game, and at various stages you're going to be moving either your markers or these black markers and changing the rules or rule bending. So let's have a look at what they do. Let's start here. Over here we have the player order. So at the start of each turn, depending on where you are in the player order, you're going to get some extra credits. So the first player will get 2 credits and all other players will get 1. However, if you move your marker here, for example, I'd get 2 plus 1. So I'd get 3 credits in that case. Alternatively, you can move it down to get less credits. Why would you want to do that? Well, we'll come back to that. Over here, we have the number of cubes you receive in a turn. At the moment, the base level is 6, but again, this could be more or less depending where you are on this chart. Next up, we have the number of cards you'll draw. So, we'll be starting by drawing 4 cards, and again, it could be more or less. Next up, we have the theme panel. So, the start player gets to determine the theme. I've chosen pirates to begin with because I like a good old fight. Not really. And here, this says that you can always play the current theme. Here, we can play the theme opposite it. So, in this case, the theme opposite would be Arabian Nights. So, for this round, we can play cards from the Arabian Nights deck or the Pirates deck. However, if we were here, we'd be able to play Pirates and Fantasy and Dinosaurs, the ones next to it. And if we got this far up, we'd be able to play all themes. If you drop right the way down here, you can't play any of the theme cards. Oops. This panel represents the number of cards you can have in hand. So at the moment we can have 6. Again, this can go up or down, and your personal values can go up or down. We're going to skip the trade panel, move on to the currency panel, and then go back. At the moment, the current currency is cubes, and the secondary currency is cards. So when you're paying for your cards, you must pay in cubes. If you move your chip here, it means you can use the secondary currency. So I could discard other cards to pay for cards. If I'm here, I can use any resource to pay for cards. Now, the trade panel is a bit reliant on the currency panel. At the start of each turn, you will get a chip that will either be 3-1, 2-1, or 1-1. This means you can trade any of your resources at the moment for a cube. However, if I was to move here, I could use these tokens to trade for the secondary currency as indicated by this little dot. So for cards. So don't forget, all of these will shift around, and the current currency also has the ability to change. So make sure you keep an eye on what's going on there. So the other two little add-ons to the board are the tiebreaker board. Over the course of the game, you're going to be placing cubes in these areas. You can also pop cubes up here, and then at the end of the round decide to move them down onto the board. We'll come back to that. Then we have this piece at the other end here. The game is played over 4 rounds. Not only is this a round indicator telling you where you are in the game, but also it tells you the cost of any cards that show the hash symbol. So in round 1, hash cards will cost you 3 times the current currency, which is cubes. In the second round, it will be 2 times, then 1 times, and then 0 for round 4. So that's what that bit does. So let's have a look at the game, have a look at some cards and see how it plays. At the start of the round, there are a few things you need to check. Turn order. So you need to ensure you give the correct amount of credits depending on placement on this panel. At the start of the game, all players start with 7 credits, so we're not looking at it this round, but subsequent rounds, don't forget it. Then cubes. So this panel determines the number of cubes we're going to get for the round. At the moment, it's 6. So I'm going to take my 6 cubes and put them into my supply. Then we need to draw cards. So I can draw 4 cards, and I can choose where these come from. I can either choose Flexo cards or theme cards, but I need to remember which themes I can play this round. So for round 1, I can draw 4 cards. I think I'm going to draw 3 Flexos to get me going, and 1 pirate card. That's what I'm going to draw. Don't forget though, your hand limit as indicated here. So at the moment I can have 6 cards, so with my 4 cards I'm fine. Then I need to take my trade token for the round, which is a 1-to-1. So again, I'm going to pop that into my supply. So move the bank out of the way so I don't get it confused with my tokens, which would be nice, but you know. So let's have a look at some cards. As well as having the Flexo cards from the middle and the different theme cards, all the cards come in 2 different types. We have fuel cards that have the grey writing at the top, and dashboard cards that are this light blue colour and underlined. The grey cards will just stay in front of you until the end of the round. Then any effects at the bottom will be applied, and then they get discarded. However, these dashboard cards will stay in play until the end of the game, and in the case of this one, it will actually score me points at the end of the game. So let's have a couple of rounds. In your turn, you can do one of two actions. You can either place a cube onto the board, or you can play a card. Now, because of the cards I've got, I'm going to start by playing a card. I'm going to start by playing this bosun card, which costs me nothing and will basically give me points at the end of the game for each set of different cards I have. So we have 4 different themes. So if I manage to get one of these cards in each of the 4 themes, it will give me 10 points at the end of the game. So I'm going to pop that down. Meanwhile, I'm going to let my opponent start to place some cubes on the board. So let's say purple pops a cube there, and yellow pops a cube there. We'll come on to why that's important in a bit. But let's have a look at this. I'm going to play this Flexo Conditions card. So it's going to cost me 1 to play. The current currency is cubes, so I have to pay 1 cube from my supply into the reserve. However, I'm going to gain 3 resources if I have less cubes on the board than at least 2 other players, which was why I played my bosun card first. So I'm going to get 3 resources of my choice. Now, this is where the decision making can be quite tough. Later on in the game, you might go for credits because that's what's going to win the game. However, at this point in time, I think I'm going to go for 2 cubes and a card. I'm going to go for an Arabian card because I can play that this round. So that is my 3 resources, and play moves on. Let's have a look at, purple and yellow. I'm going to say yellow really wants that. Purple wants that. And I'm going to go here. So, play continues until all players pass. Either playing a card into their display, I'm going to play my sultan, or putting cubes on the board. And you'll see the number of cubes on these panels is starting to build up. So what do I want? I quite like this as well. So let's say, let's pop some more cubes on these spots. I like this one. I might decide to pop one over here on the tiebreaker because that's also quite good. And there. So let's say all players have popped their cubes on the board and all players have decided to pass. So we're going to score each of the panels starting with the theme panel. So whoever has the majority in this panel will not only get to choose the theme for the next round, but also have the chance to adjust their marker on this track. In this case, there's a tie. However, purple put a cube over on the tiebreaker track earlier, here. Purple could choose to move this cube from the track onto the main board, which they're going to do. So, purple has the majority here. So, purple has the choice to move their marker 1 space in either direction. So, they're going to move that way for now, and their cubes will come off this space, leaving yellow quite nicely set up for the next round. Now, you might ask, why would you want to move down these tracks? The atom and the nuclear tokens here will give you credit bonuses when you reach them. So if purple was there already, and moved 1 space, they'd get to turn this token over, take 1 credit and put the token into their area. However, these atom tokens are worth a lot more, as you can see. So you might decide to take a bit of a hit here, but go for 5 credits in this case over the 1. The yellow tokens in this prototype version range between 0 and 3, and the atom tokens go between 3 and 6. So there's really quite a difference between them. So you might decide to go that way. But for now, purple's there. We come over here. Now, again, purple and yellow have got a tie. So in this case, there's no more spare cubes on the track. That's a draw. No one wins, no one loses, the cubes stay there and no markers move. So, moving round here to the trade track. Now, I'm actually going to take my cube from the tiebreaker track, so I win this area. Now, because of this conditions card I played earlier, you can see the little symbol at the bottom here matches this panel. So I actually get ×2 on my movement in either direction. So I'm actually going to choose to go 2 spaces that way, which means I can't trade. But because I've won, I can also choose to move this black marker. Now, because I'm unable to trade, I'm going to stitch everyone else up. And I'm going to move that marker to the 3 for 1, meaning I can't trade, but it's also going to make it pretty tough for anyone else to trade. I'll take my cubes off and leave them there. Again, I've won this area, so I get to move my token by 1 space. Take my cube off, and I can also choose where I want this. So I'm going to move it there so that the currency for the round is credits. I'm going to make people spend their credits. I'm such a meanie. Here, purple wins. So purple moves to 1st place. You're going to go clockwise around the table, so the game actually goes to 5 players because you just stack these here. It's only really the 1st player that's significant. So purple is going to do that, take 1st place. Here the cubes, I win this one, so take my cubes off the board and I get to move 2 spaces. I'm actually going to move that too. I'm going to leave the black. I like having a lot of cubes. Cubes are good. So this pile that I keep knocking over. Card drawing. I win that. I am going to give myself an extra card. And I'm going to give everyone an extra card because I was a bit mean with trading. So I'm going to be a bit generous there. So that would be the end of the 1st round. The round marker would move to round 2, and starting with the 1st player who's purple, we'd all take our credits for the round. So purple would get 3 and the rest of us would get 1. That's a bit measly. Cubes. Yellow and purple will get 6 cubes. However, I have 8 cubes, which obviously puts me at a bit of an advantage for area control. 5, 6, 7, 8. Draw cards. So everyone's going to draw 5. I draw 6. When drawing cards, it's important to notice what theme's in play, which I forgot. Purple won this panel. So purple would get to decide which theme for the round. So say purple's nicer than me and purple's going to go for dinosaurs. So when I'm drawing up cards, I need to bear in mind that I can play dinosaur cards and fantasy cards. So I need a total of 6 cards. I'm going to draw 2 fantasy and 3 flexo cards and 1 dinosaur card. So now I need to remember to discard any fuel cards from my display. These stay with me until the end of the game. So I've drawn my cards up. I'm actually dead on my hand limit. And we start another round. So let's have a look at what I've got. This round, don't forget, we're paying in credits because I'm a mean person that did that. So, goodness, I've only got 8 credits as well. Ooh. Right. I'm going to play this ancient wizard. Cost me 1, we have to pay in credits. So I get to look at 2 of the atom tokens on the board. I can flip any one over and place one of these multipliers on it. So obviously I'm getting quite close to this one, so I want to look, ooh, big 6. So I'm going to pop that on there because I want that. And let's have a look at another one. Which one do I want? This one. Let's have a look. 5. So now everyone knows what those atom tokens are worth, and everyone will work out that I'm trying to head to this big fat 12 credits over there. So now I need to concentrate on winning this area. So in subsequent turns, I'm going to place some cubes up here. I like having the power of many cubes, so I'm going to place here. Yellow's going to try and knock me off my little perch here. Yep. And, I mean, yellow has this. There's no point fighting them. I like drawing cards. I'm going to place that there. And I'm going to have a look at my cards and see what I've got. So, organisation here. Gain 1 resource for every cube on the game board. So, I have to pay in credits. I pay my 1 credit to the bank. And have a look at how many cubes are on the game board. So, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Wow, that's a lot of resources. So I'm going to take 6 cubes and 5 credits because I'm paying for them. I'm paying for my cards in credits this round. 11, and let's draw some cards. So 12, dinosaurs are the theme. Right, let's have a look. Right, always make sure when you're drawing cards you don't go above the hand limit. If you have 6 cards in hand, you can't draw more and discard them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm good. So let's have a look at what else I've got. I am going to play the Discovery of Fire, obviously from the prehistoric era. So I pay my 1 credit. I can place 1 cube from my general supply, even better, not my personal supply, onto an available locked space. So I'm going to take 1 from the general supply and pop it here. So at the end of the round, if I were to win this area, this cube would stay there. So the winner moves their cubes off the board. However, any in these locked spaces will stay until the end of the game. So those are always handy. So I've still got loads of cubes. Let's have a look at what I want. Now, I've only played one Flexo card, and that's Theme. So I kind of want the extra bump for that. I'm going to play this card, Conditions. So gain 3 resources if I have more cubes on the tiebreaker board than any other player, which I do. So I'm going to gain 3 resources. I'm actually going to go for credits at the moment because I've got a full hand of cards, I've got loads of cubes, and what do credits mean? Prizes. No, credits mean winning. So I'm going to pop that one down. Now I've still got 5 cards in hand, which is quite tough at the moment. And right, energy management manager. Pay 1 credit. So gain 2 resources if you have exactly 1 cube on 3 different panels, which I have. I have 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. So I'm gonna take 2 cubes. So let's have a look at what I want. I want to win the areas I get the bonuses for, which are here and Theme. Because don't forget, this symbol at the bottom, if you win the area, you get to move twice. So it's quite important that you match these up with what you're doing on the board. Plus, I want this really hefty 12 credits here. So I'm going to bump up here. Purple doesn't want me to have it. They're going to shore up. And so on until the end of the round. So, again, at the end of the round, we start with the theme panel. The winner will choose the theme for the next round, move their token up or down, and carry on scoring each of the 7 panels. Once you've scored all the panels, taken the winning cubes off, you move on to the 3rd round. At the end of the 4th round, you will score as normal round the panels. Then you'll have extra scoring for any cards that you have left in your display. So let's have a look. Here, I'm going to gain 3 credits because I have 2 different themes in this particular set. There are other cards that give you points and other wondrous things. This is one of those games where there is a card that will go against every rule that you know. After all, we are rule bending. After scoring cards, you're going to go back and score the main board. So what you need to do is flip over any of these atom or nuclear tokens that haven't been taken yet. So I'm going to move yellow there just to show you. So actually, let's do that. If a player is in the atom zone, they have a chance to win this token. Now, in this case, yellow is closer, so yellow would get 3 credits. However, purple is also in that zone, so they'd get 3 credits minus 2. Bear in mind that sometimes, especially with these nuclear tokens, that can result in a negative score, and in that case, you have to pay the negative amount. So let's have a look. So here we go. Here I would get 1 credit. Yellow would get 1 credit minus 2. So yellow would actually lose 1 credit in that case. So towards the end of the game, it really helps, if possible, if you can be nearer these nuclear tokens, because they're going to give you the bigger points. Obviously, I would have claimed this over the course of the game, but here I'd get the 12 and purple would still get 10 points from that. So it's important to clear these up where you can. And that is why you might want to take the bad hit on the rule for the extra credits. Once you've gone round and done that with each of the 7 panels, scored your cards, add your totals to whatever you've got in your hand from the game, and the player with the most points is declared the winner. Rulebenders has quite a lot going on, and to be honest, on our first play it felt quite overwhelming. There's a lot of symbols on the cards. Literally halfway through our first game it clicked with us. I think initially we were a bit, and then all of a sudden we got it and we were like, okay, right, now I know what I'm doing and now I know what I need to try and do. 4 rounds is not a lot, so you need to make sure you get the best from every action you take. Now that might be through trading, it might be through manipulation of cube gaining, so you might decide that you're going to put your personal cube level really high up and put the main cube down, so you know everyone else is only getting 3 but you're getting 3 plus 2, which puts you at that advantage. Same with card drawing. So it's quite interesting because you can either choose to go down the route of improving all of your actions, or you can go down the route of stitching everyone else up. Part of that is going to come down to your personal play style and what you prefer. And also with the extra decks, that adds a whole other level. With the prototype we've got here, we've only got one of the extra mean decks, which is the pirate cards. Now, going through, we didn't see any attack cards, but this has actually got quite a lot of attack cards. So here you go, look, Jolly Roger, you get to steal credits off other people. There are defensive cards that let you protect against these. And of course, if you don't want to be mean, you can always use these as currency. Everything has value here. So let's have a look at, here we go, there's another one, steal a card from another player. So really you can be mean if you want to. We don't tend to play like that, but then we have to live with each other. What are you going to do about it? We have friends that do play a really harsh, mean game, and I think they'll really dig the competitive aspect of it. I'm looking forward to seeing what the other decks add. They'll be available on the Kickstarter. I'm hoping I can at least have a little sneaky peek through those cards. As I said at the start, one of them is a very mean deck, the zombies, and then the sci-fi is a friendlier deck. So this is very much about choosing your style of play, which I guess is rule bending in its own sense as well. So have a look at Rulebenders, available on Kickstarter, I think from today or tomorrow, depending on when we get this video up, from Game Brewers. Have a look, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, click like, subscribe, yada yada. Come and say hello to me on socials. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram as I Play Red. Thanks for watching, see you next time, bye.